with Carson's truck, for the audience, Young Guns, SEMA, kind of a maroon with some crazy Steve Stanford graphics on there, and really, one of one is it's going to be one of one. Nobody's going to change that from him. So I think that we will start to see that more in the OBS stuff because of that old school lineage and people wanting to stand out and be a little different. I mean, we saw a lot of 454 SSs. Now we're seeing a ton of indies, and we're gonna, start to see what's next. Is like, okay, well, they ran out of the special truck, so now we're gonna make our own special truck with that retro rad graphic, and we're gonna make it our own.
Well, I think that's the cool thing about what Carson did because he's only 26 years old and he's got a supercharged LSX in that and a stick. So it's not an automatic truck; it's a stick, and it's got some billet inside of it. And then Steve designed the killer graphics that are actually inspired by a funny car that he designed in the 70s. So there's some history there with those graphics. And I think it's one of the first trucks that's kind of a crossover truck where it's somewhat retro in some aspects of it, and then it's got forge line wheels on it, which are they're not your average everyday wheel. They're an extremely high end wheel, and they work well with the drivetrain. But they're kind of a nice mix with the paint and the graphics. So I like the fact that he was willing to go a little bit of a nod to the past, but a full blast to the future with the drivetrain and everything. So I hope that we see more of that. And the thing is, like, you think about that truck when even it was at SEMA when it was in the Battle of the Builders portion there, like all you had to say to somebody was just go look at the Burgundy OBS. They knew what truck it was. Like it was easy to find that truck because of the graphics that are on it. If it didn't have those graphics, it still would have been cool. But then why would you walk over and look at it? Because it would just be a Burgundy truck on wheels.
Yeah.
So I think that's a perfect example of how well a little personalization can really make your truck stand out. Like that truck made top 3 like of Young Guns. Like that's amazing for an OBS. Like and not a pro builder and like he just did that truck and went out on a limb with a lot of it, and it just works so well. I've actually got the truck; it's still here. I've got it right here, sitting in the showroom.
Well,
So,
hopefully you can bring it down the reunion. I hope that we see more scallops and stuff because we've been seeing them on trucks that were survivors that are left from, unmolested, still original paint from, really the 90s. I do hope we see some people do some funky stuff with some scallops. Take that OG graphic styling and then bring it in, modernize it 30 years later, give it that new drivetrain, give it that new stance, obviously the crazy exhaust, and then just throw some crazy paint with some scallops, just something that we've seen, but we've seen it different to where you're like, oh shit, damn, look at that, what he did, and look at that, and look at that. And I think we're still seeing that when somebody resurrects a survivor truck, but I don't know that we've really seen it honestly much compared to maybe just your tribute truck. When your tribute truck came out, that made us all do that. Maybe it was a little too far ahead of its time. But I think that we're ready. We're ready to see a lot. Like you said, we are ready to see a lot more of that.
yeah, I think so. And we're working with House of Color right now, and they've been really good to as a partner with us. And we've got one that's painted that's pretty crazy that people are going to like when it comes out. And not sure when it's going to debut yet. Still needs an interior, like still needs a little some fine tuning in that. But and then we've got another one. We've that's got this one that's got 480,000 miles on it. The speedometer's broken on it. And we're just going to go full out crazy on that one too. And we've been collecting up parts for that, but we're going to paint that totally crazy and see if we can upset everybody with that one too. So I really hope to see some really colorful trucks this year. It would be nice to see some Easter eggs pop out like they used to in the old days.